Om Tat Sat. We commence this evening's Satsang with a Sanskrit prayer by our revered Guru, Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
And now for a devotional song. It will be sung this evening by Sanchari.
हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, भेद भाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके, दोस्तों से भूल हो तो माफ कर सके, झूठ से बचे रहे, सच का दम भरे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मुश्किलें पड़े तो हम पे इतना करम कर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बदी से ना डरे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना।
It was a beautiful bhajan. We used to sing this as children. And I will have this translation for you next time. That's a promise. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji in Miami, Florida. Today is August the 5th, 2018. And on this Sunday evening, Swamiji continues with the lecture series on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is series 2018, lecture number 11. And now our beloved Guru, Swami Jyotirmayananda ji.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, entitled Sankhya Yoga, which means yoga of enlightenment, of wisdom. And we are dealing with verse number 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. While there is flood of water everywhere, it's breaking the news. A well or small reservoir of water is of no use. In the same way, a knower of Brahman has no need for those portions of the Vedas that relate to sakamya karma, that is, doing your actions for fulfillment of your expectations. Majority of people, that's what life is. You have expectation and you work for it to fulfill it. And if you find yourself not sufficient, then you seek the spiritual teachers and guidance, and they draw their inspiration from the Vedas. Turning towards God has two stages. One, you turn to God only when you need Him. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. Understood it? Whenever there is trouble, challenging situation, one turns to God. But when problems resolve, God means nothing. You have better things to do. When you have that type of relationship with God, which is better than having no relationship. So you are in the realm of virtuous personalities. The virtuous personalities are in two classes. One class, their virtue is limited. Practice virtue for fulfillment of expectation. You have to figure it out. Human expectation is limited by the mind. So even your best expectations are not really fulfilling for your soul. But however, that is the predicament of the masses. You perform religious duties, follow various rituals, japa, meditation, all that you do, and many good deeds. But behind all that, mind stays focused on how can I promote things that are of the nature of blessings. And the mind has a definition of blessings. Good health is a blessing. Harmony in the family is a blessing. Not being affected by earthquakes, etc., that's a blessing. And all that, I can go on detailing on it. But while you live in that world, and you are many times given immense encouragement as you pray and you see your things done in a miraculous way. But It's only one point, but all this does not open the inner aspiration for becoming one with God, blended with God, coming close to God. And that movement is movement towards liberation. So you have two choices. One is a movement towards cycle of birth and death. If your mind becomes sensitive, it's such a horrible situation. No matter how wonderful will be your next embodiment, it will pass, just like many embodiments have passed. And we still will be waiting for the next embodiment. And being in any embodiment, look into your diary, all the things you have faced from the babyhood to up till this time. And how every day brings challenge. Deh dhare ka dand hai. The moment you enter human embodiment, you have terrible situations that you have to combat against. And I will not go into details. It's easy to understand. No one is exempt from this law. The moment you are in embodied state, you are going to face all the disease, aging, death, terrible happenings that can injure your heart, injure your body. All will go on happening. But in spite of all these happenings, if you are enlightened, you remain untouched. And you become a source of inspiration. So you have to also understand, do not have a fascinating view of enlightenment. That when you are enlightened, all the money will jump into you. Everybody will obey you. You rule over the whole earth. Because who can be more powerful than God, and you are with God? But that's not the picture of enlightenment. If that is the picture, then Buddha was not enlightened. Christ was not enlightened. They didn't live that life of power and an external show of physical strength, and a life without troubles. Rather, great personalities have faced more troubles. Socrates, Mahatma Gandhi, I'm just naming a few, Christ himself, and all sages and saints have passed through. And do not develop inferiority complex that the only sages have faced. You have faced also. Now, coming now to the broad understanding that this is the predicament of the soul. If the soul is led by ego-based desires and expectations, then no matter how much you may enjoy your life, you may be praised for your success and bravery for, say for example, for 100 years or 1,000 years. But they go, 1,000 years go. That is not the goal. The goal is to attain liberation. Liberation is your mystically speaking, your real health. A reflected sun in a jar of water, that reflected sun is sick. Its real health, I am the sun. And it is deceptive health, I will be better in another pot. This deceptive health, I will be better in another pot, or better if the pot became improved. Then that's called Sakamya movement. And Nishkamya, none of this, not entering from pot to pot, from bucket to bucket, kick the bucket forever, attaining enlightenment. That's the goal of life. That's real religion, no matter which religion you go through. If you don't come to understand that level, you are in kindergarten of religion. But now your mind has to figure out what type of changes you have to make in your life. Do you have to make abrupt changes? There's nothing to be desired in the world, so let's find somewhere a cave and put yourself in and shut the door. I'm joking, people don't have that much strength either to do that. But the idea that let me cut off from all activities, that's again is impossible. Gita has already pointed out that you will have double trouble. To keep yourself inactive requires more effort than keeping yourself active. A rider of a horse is asked by the general of the army, he is a soldier, do nothing, stay. The rider keeps the horse completely steady, and he perspires and full of pain because he has much more effort holding the horse than keeping the horse moving. So what seems like adopting the path of doing nothing, and it's a fictitious path. You breathe, your heart goes on pumping, the blood circulation goes on, and no matter what type of religious vow you have taken, when you become thirsty, you have to take water. Or if you are more cultured, you will take tea and coffee. Now, coming to very high level of the teaching, that if you are following the path for attaining enlightenment, not to come back to the cycle of birth and death, then what you are going to gain is beyond your imagination. It is like with sakamya karma, pursuing your desire, you are confined to receiving water from a little well. And there is nowhere else. All is desert and you have only little well. And sometimes the well gets polluted, then you are not well at all. But if you have followed Nishkamya movement, torrential rain is showering over you. You have mountains spilling out, constant waterfalls, brooks and rivers flowing before you, and you have lake within your sight, vast lake. When you have all this on one side, on the other side, well, muddy, slippery, polluted water. This is the difference between Sakamya and Niskamya. That reminded me much of my tea. Now, you are moving towards Niskamya, that's what called yoga. Becoming a yogi means turning your action into karma yoga. Then you are, if karma becomes highlighted in your mind, you are called karma yogi. Turning your feelings, sentiments into bhakti yoga, path of devotion. Turning your mental control into dhyana yoga, yoga of meditation. And your insightful thinking, inquiry, turning that process into jnana yoga. All these four, if you are pursuing, they are the reality of your daily life. All the four are there with you. You have to do your actions. You live with a heart that enjoys interactions with people in different levels. And you have a mind that has to control itself for going after a particular objective. And you have to give exercise to your intellect to brush up all your progressive movement, to put all your ducks together. All the four you are exercising. But sometimes, without having spiritual culture, what happens? You give too much importance only to the head aspect, thinking. So, all the work means staying in the office. Outside of that, no walking, no nature. If at all you have beautiful nature, through the Google. I'll give you. All this creates disbalance, disharmony. That's not yoga. Yoga is when you allow, first focus on what is highlighted within you. If action is highlighted, you call yourself karma yogi. But you understand that all four yogas are together. Your hands, your feet, your neck, your head, they are always together. But sometimes you give more focus on your legs, sometimes more focus on your neck. I'm joking. So that's a different matter. But always understand they are all together. You cannot advance in any aspect to be a good doer of righteous deeds unless your feeling is not purified, unless your intellect has not given you a sense of humility. All four go together. That's the thing. When we said yoga, all four are implied. But then what happens? People limited the meaning of yoga only to Hatha Yoga or Raja Yoga. Therefore, the recent sages have added the word integral yoga. You don't have to say integral, yoga is integral. But making it more easy to understand. So you can be doer of wonderful action, but you are not karma yogi. You have to understand that. You become a karma yogi when your focus is, how can I live with a better heart? A heart that enjoys loving people, wishing good of all. A heart that does not hoard vultures and foxes and snakes and worms. A heart that has all beautiful flowers and a dancing peacock. So, now you are doing your actions with that type of change that occurring within you, your bhava shuddhi, bhakti becomes enhanced. And then we enjoy how you are not dealing with so many imaginations, memories of the past, dreams for the future, and all these things around you. They are all buzzing over you like mosquitoes. Instead of enjoying the mosquito song, enjoy meditation song. Being calm, relaxed. So, dhyana enters in your personality. Dhyana yoga, instead of just focusing your mind abruptly on so many things, now you focus your mind with a purpose to allow your actions to become improved qualitatively, your feelings to become improved. And another point, all this while is happening, your understanding is undergoing a transformation. Intellectual understanding is very poor. Just let me give you, I've quoted that type of episode. A very successful and famous scientist, busy in his laboratory, and his wife and his family have not received his attention. She comes, tears in her eyes before him, and looks at him. Oh, I forgot. Let me analyze your tears. Wait, get me the test. Your tears always give me so much problem. Now I will analyze. And once I know real analysis, no more problem. Crude illustration of dry intellect doesn't resolve the problems that arise in your heart. Your intellect has to be profound. That was sukshma buddhi, subtle intellect. Intellect that firstly enables you to understand that God Himself is shining through your soul. Your soul is a ray of God. And all the world you experience is also nothing but God's glory. I'm certainly taking you on a very high level. But if you develop that type of understanding, an understanding that does not ignore even the slightest tear falling before Him, not wait for analyzing the tears. An understanding that is soft, doesn't expect anyone to have any suffering, that creates a heart that sends out sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. That type of understanding. And that understanding is the characteristic of enlightenment. If you have developed that type of understanding, where the world is no longer distant, but it is a content of your own heart. That point will be explained to you later. But now in this verse, if you are moving with integral yoga, you are practicing Vedas in a profound way. But if you are practicing narrow aspected practice of karma, action, devotional meditation, upasana, meditation, and your intellectual exercise, you are practicing. That also Vedas provide nourishment for that. But if you limit yourself to that level of nourishment that simply maintains your life of birth and death, then you have not taken advantage of the Vedas in their real source. And that's what the message is, that yes, follow yoga, follow all the practical disciplines provided by the Vedas. But do not limit your life to your ego's expectations. Limit your life to ego that submits itself, surrenders itself to God. And then Godward movement controls your whole personality. And it is not a helpless movement. You discover your freedom more profoundly than you could ever have discovered. So if you are moving that way, you are going to attain the sun. Again, allegorical language. You are a ray of sun, allegorically, sun, light of lights, that's what you will attain. If you don't have that, then you are going to go after reflected suns, reflections, illuminations, countless. And that movement is frustrating movement. And that is described in allegorical way, that Godward movement. In that movement you find abundance of water. Water coming from Satsanga. Water coming from all the yajnas, swadhyaya, study, japa, etc., good deeds. When you do all this, you are now enjoying not water from a little well, but water that is coming from in abundance from all sides. That's allegorical description. So wouldn't you be open to that type of experience, not completely become a slave to a little well which is contaminated? Now open to abundance of joy. All the happiness of the world is called alpam. They are like little glowworms. Even if you have 1,000,000 glowworms in your house, you don't have the sun. The sun is infinite. All the pleasures of the world, if they were possible, and all the power, still is described alpam, little, meaning it is just shallow, mirage. "47th verse. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भूर्मा ते संगोस्त्वकर्मणि." No matter whatever the situation, your right is only to the performance of your duty, not to the fruit thereof. You should not be impelled to act, dictated by desire for a result, desire for fruit. Nor should you be attached to inaction. Let's follow it profoundly. First point, you are always involved in action. From the time you are born, your hereditary factors are with your personality, and you are drawn to activity from the time you are born. You are born in the house of musicians. Hardly you open your mouth. You go on listening to the sound of music. As you grow up, you begin to develop the idea, may I be a good musician? I'm just giving you that applies to all. Everyone is born with a karmic process. And so you don't have to look for what karma should I do. That's why I didn't look for which parents am I to go to. It happened automatically. But now comes another level. Another level means you use your intellect to discriminate between which type of job should you do, which is more in harmony with your progress. And just like people have their choice about jobs. But I will not lead you into all the details. The simple point is, no matter what job you are doing, your attitude should be, let me do the job the best way possible. You should not sit back. Is this job going to give me good money? If not, I will do it helter-skelter. or if it is going to give me good money, I will double my time. I will get double the amount. Both are wrong. So don't think with that type of a mind of evaluating if that job is going to give you satisfactory result or not. You always understand that all this is not up to you. Your ego is baby ego, doesn't know much. Even before you are born, God has planned your whole personality, fashioned your nervous system. Even the mystery that is there in your every nail, you can't explore enough. So I won't lead you too much that way. So your right is perform your duty. And move away from expectation. Now, if you do not follow that teaching correctly and follow literally, you will be making another big mistake. When you do a job, you do have the expectation that you are going to succeed in it. This is normal. That expectation is a part of your swadharma. But the expectation that Gita is talking about, don't develop the idea this is the goal of your life. The two aspects. Firstly, your action can give you, from your side, when you take a job, your mind is focused on, I must succeed in it. That should be the priority. Next point, if you didn't succeed, do not be frustrated. Understand there is a reason for it. God is behind it. In other words, you need to understand that statement. Perform your duties without expecting the fruit. Without expecting the fruit does not mean that you lose interest in the performance of your duty. Your mind should understand that you are not looking for small fruits, but you have a big fruit, the nectar of immortality. So you're not expecting things to occur in this world of time and space, but expecting your heart to become clearer, pure bhavana feeling shining in your heart like the moon waxing, or your intellect becoming more and more intuitional, leading you to enlightenment, that you don't need to come back into the world and operate with such nimble personality, body, mind, bones, and nerves and veins. All this terrible situation. So while you are working on this direction, doing your job the best way possible, with a fascinating understanding that this is karma yoga, leading you to be united with God. And the real result is beyond imagination. Then you are practicing niskamya karma yoga, doing actions without expectation of fruit. That's a subtler meaning. Doing action without expectation should not lead you to another error, Fruits of karma bring all types of situations in the world of time and space. Jati, ayu, bhoga, these are fruits of karma. Which class you are born in called jati. How long will you live? Ayu. What type of experiences will you have? Pleasure and pain called bhoga. All this is in accordance with karmas that you create. Now what's there for? If your mind were to say, all right, no more karma. That movement to become attached to akarma, inaction. Inaction becomes also a kind of drug addiction. It's an addiction, a demoniac addiction. You let go, days pass by, brooding over things that are not going to help you, or staying with wrong association just to keep yourself entertained. That inaction is a curse. So therefore, how to live your life that you can allow your body and mind to have energy, sustained perseverance, utsaha, a kind of jest within your heart, and ability to endure, to have patience, and have an optimistic view that each time when the cloud moves away, the moon shines brighter. And there is nothing in the world that can dare shut you down. You are not body, mind, you are the sun. Forty-eighth verse. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. O Dhananjaya, the very word that is used for Arjuna has a purpose. Every word in Gita has its special meanings. Dhananjaya means a hero who collects wealth. All the wealth comes, he gathers. But wealth means Daivi Sampat, divine qualities. And Arjuna is the one who has developed all those, the divine wealth of humility, fearlessness, charity, generosity, patience, endurance, all the good qualities, sincerity, magnanimity. Go on finding the series of virtues, and they are all called wealth, Daivi Sampat. And Arjuna has that potentiality, and he was already a highly advanced aspirant. So, O Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, be established in yoga. I already explained to you yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, jnana yoga, integral yoga. And perform actions devoid of attachment. Perform your actions in such a way with that type of mindset, that the very opportunity to perform the action has been the puja of God, worship of God. You worshipped God and put prasad near Him. Now don't expect that God will eat it up. I'm joking. In other words, the very performance is sufficient for you, and consider it as an opportunity. Be balanced in success and failure. Again, from practical point of view, it will be normal when you are successful, you feel happy and display your joy. When you fail, it is normal to have a little headache. And be negative. But if you don't have this experience, then you are inert. So that's not the goal either, to remain absolutely unshaken. But try to understand, be shaken with the subtle mystic trick to nourish your roots. Tree allows itself to be shaken. If it doesn't shake with breeze, it will not have nourishment in its roots. That flexibility should be there. But don't be too shaken in such a way you break away from the very root. There lies the big yoga, art of yoga. Yoga doesn't mean you become just blank face no matter what. Yoga has a joyous face about it. Sages and saints, inspired people. They understood their feelings. They matched up with their expectations in a joyous way. Now, this virtue called samatva, staying balanced. Negative things have happened, shake a little. That strengthens your neck. Positive happened, shake this way. Do not let your neck be broken. With the art of maintaining your balance, then that's called samatva buddhi. That's the secret of yoga and the secret of attaining enlightenment. Yoga Vasishtha details upon it. Another name for samatva is shama, serenity of mind. Stay serene, shake up, but serenity is your highlight of your personality. And that's considered the gateway to liberation. When you are serene, you develop santosh. Santosh means enjoying satisfaction, contentment, not staying with a sense of discontent, no matter how things are. Just like in an office, someone brings you a wonderful chair. Hardly you sit and say, no, I don't like it. I should have had a better one. It costs only $50. I want a $1,000 type of chair. I'm joking. There's the exaggeration of the quality of discontent. No matter how things come, you are not settled with it. But living your life fully, things as they unfold, you face them with a settled heart. And not compare with others. How is it I did so much work and I have only ordinary home? And look, that person did only 6 months of work, has built a big house, 20-storied. Discontent. Always we're comparing. Stop that habit and be joyous how much you have in divine plan, all that you have, all that you are experiencing. The whole body temple has come to you. God is within your heart. He is ringing the bell for you to wake up. What else do you need? And He is guiding you. The third gatekeeper is called Satsang, which we are having. And you know already some flavor of it, so I don't want to discuss that more. And the fourth vichar, led by all these things that you have heard, when mind relaxes, you begin to work upon it. That I am not really the body, I am not the mind. I am like the sun. The entire world is mental projection. And behind all mental projection, there is pure consciousness. Behind all illuminations that you enjoy, there is the sun. And that sun does not go through any problem. Illuminations are always with problem. Your dream is always shifting. Your bed remains the same. So, giving you different angles to look at it. So, summing up, remember the four gatekeepers: serenity, shama; contentment, santosh; satsang, good association; and vichar, mind opening itself to deep reflection and understanding, who am I? That's not a kind of question and answer process. Feeling out who you are. And that goes on automatically as you advance. So with this I'm going to conclude. I had planned to do more, but that's Om. And I'm doing the prayer right now. Om. Prayer for health, long life, peace, prosperity, and enlightenment for all of you. Prayer for peace and harmony in the world and for enlightenment. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam urvarukmuva bandhanan mrityormukshyamamritat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukmuva bandhanan mrityormukshyamamritat. Sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritam gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah.
Swamiji invites Narayan to give a short talk. Narayan has been a disciple for many lifetimes of Gurudev, as I like to say. Here he is.
Pranam Gurudev. Om Tat Sat, everyone. Tonight we'll be resuming the short talks on Kena Upanishad. And we are presently on mantras 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's a group of 5 mantras. Just to provide a quick recap, Kena in Sanskrit means, in English, the translation of Kena is by whom. So by whom do the pranas operate? By whom does the mind function? And so forth. And it's presented as a dialogue between the teacher and the disciple. And that question, by whom, is the theme of this particular Upanishad. So mantra number 4 states, not that which is revealed by speech, but that which gives rise to speech. Know that alone to be the Brahman, not this which people worship here. Mantra 5, not that which is thought with the mind, but by which they say the mind is made to think. Know that alone to be the Brahman, not this which people here worship. Mantra 6 says, not that which is seen by the eye, but by which the eyes are able to see. Know that alone to be the Brahman, not this which people worship here. Mantra 7, not that which is heard by the ear, but by which the ears are able to hear. That alone know thou to be Brahman, not this which people here worship. And mantra 8 says, not that which is pulled by the pranas, but that which pulls the pranas. Know that alone to be the Brahman, not this which people worship here. So this group of 5 mantras in Kena Upanishad beckons the aspirant to not be satisfied with names and forms, that which the mind perceives through the senses. One can easily get entangled and confused with this day-to-day reality as long as one perceives these perceptions, mental projections onto the screen as the true reality. One needs to seek the source and view these names and forms as mental crutches that point to the absolute source. So the first deals with speech. Do not be satisfied with that which is spoken, right? But seek the source of that which is spoken. The source of speech is pure awareness. It's that pure consciousness that is spoken of in the Vedas and all religions, if you go deep enough. There's a saying in Vedanta that the truth is one, but it is spoken of in many, many different ways by different sages. So with this understanding, with this truth established, do not be so attached to what is spoken, what is learned through language. Seek the source of that which is learned through language. Mantra 5 deals with the mind. Not that which is thought by the mind, but by which they say the mind is made to think, right? So the mind is the generator of thoughts. Do not be attached to that which is thought, but seek instead the source of the mind. Inquire, what is the source of the mind? Who is the thinker? Right? To whom are these thoughts arising? It is that pure I am, and that's the goal, which we have to intuitively realize. There's a difference between rational thought and intuitive realization. One cannot cognize through rational processes of the mind that which is Brahman. One intuitively experiences this realization through consistent and persistent self-effort, meditation, integral yoga, in a nutshell. So seek the source of the mind, not the products of the mind. Mantra 6 and 7 collectively deal with the senses, right? So not that which is seen by the eye, but by which the eyes are able to see. Know that alone to be Brahman. And Mantra 7, not that which is heard by the ear, but by which the ears are able to hear. Right? So our senses are very limited. A simple thought experiment, if you were to replace your eyes with the eyes of an owl, you would see the world completely differently. Right? In the same way, if you were to replace your ears with that of a bat, or any other animal, whatever, just use your imagination. Your experience would completely change, right? What remains consistent, though, is that awareness. You can take away your mind, you can take away your senses, you can take away your intellect, but you would still exist. And that's a very powerful thought experiment that one can meditate upon. So don't take sense perceptions as the reality. Seek the source of your sense projections, right? And Mantra 8 finally deals with the pranas. It says, not that which is pulled by the pranas, but that which pulls the pranas. Know that alone to be the Brahman, not that which people worship here. So pulled here in this context means, it refers to force, right? So that which is pulled by the pranas, that which is forced by the pranas, is this physical body. The pranas are the vital forces that gives sustenance and nourishment, to this body in order for us to live. Without the prana, the body cannot function, right? So, not that which is pulled by the pranas, the body, but that which pulls the pranas. What is that which pulls the pranas? That which governs the pranas, that which controls the pranas. What is that? That is the Brahman. That is the proclamation of these 5 mantras. And that is what the goal is. Through intuitive realization, we have to work through the process of yoga, as Swamiji says, and many other great masters say. And worship here, it ends. All 5 of these mantras say, not this which people worship here. Worship in this context means take to be the end result, the end reality, right? So don't take speech to be the end reality. Seek the source. Don't worship speech. Don't be satisfied with speech. Seek the source. Don't be satisfied with products of the mind. Seek the source of the mind. Don't be satisfied with sense perceptions, what you see and what you hear. Seek the source of your sense perceptions. And don't be satisfied with your physical body. Don't identify with your physical body. You are much more than that. You are that pure awareness. And more next time. Thank you, Swamiji. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
All these talks are guided by Swamiji. We now open the floor to questions and answers. Rajneesh, please wire Swamiji. I would like to invite our little Karma Yogi, Kanishka, to please pass the mic. Yes. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and Kanishka will bring you the mic. Please be sure to speak into the mic loud and clear when you ask the question. Thank you.
That's it. Swamiji, Brahman alone is real, but in this practical reality, matter appears to be real. But my question is, how real are spirits or angels or demons in this practical reality?
As real as practical reality. They all
Just as illusory.
just as illusory.
But as
There are
this,
three levels of your experience. They are described as three lokas. What you experience through your senses called practical reality, physical reality. What you experience through your sentiments, that's nothing to do with physical, you can't show it. And that's another level of reality. And what you understand and how it feels when you understand many things of the world. So in these three levels you experience physical, subtle and subtler planes of reality. But all these planes are Maya, illusion. Illusion itself is not in one plane, see. It has many divisions. Even in mirage waters, there is a wave, there is inside the mirage, and there is a illusory whale under it.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yes. I have a question. I understand the beauty of being in service to people. And sometimes I'm questioning myself, like, I like to be in service. I see big things in that, but sometimes I'm questioning how not to put all your life being only in that, being only in service. How not to forget to take care of your needs and be present to reality of your life.
Doesn't make it clear.
You have to speak a little
Oh,
louder.
I'm sorry. I was trying not to be so loud. Okay, my question is, I understand the beauty of service, being in service to the world and being in service to people, but sometimes I'm questioning myself how to balance being in service to people and living your own life and dealing with your own stuff.
That's a good question, you see, but you have to understand, service is not always just physical. Service is when your heart is filled with good thoughts and good feelings. You become inspired even in your thoughts. You must also realize that your thoughts in your mind have their impact on the world. People watch your face and they become inspired. They don't tell you inspired me. So you are rendering service. From Broadway point of view, bring, serve, love, meditate, realize all these four in your daily life. Serve. While serving, love God. Service, practical service is limited depending upon your energy, circumstances, but your goodwill is not limited. And your love of God is not limited. While that goes on, going to another level, allow your mind to be free from distractions, from anger, hate, and all the gossips of the world. Allow the mind to listen to the melody of silence. And then have a revelation. What is the source behind all that? When you go to sleep, you leap. You go beyond your body, mind, intellect, ego, and what happens? nothing happens. You become much better. That gives you a little touch of what it means to be enlightened, what it means to be with God. So, serve, love, meditate, realize. Bring the formula in your daily life. And then your problem of service becomes so magnanimous. It's just like a flower blossoms. In the beginning, the flower has a problem. I want to blossom, and I want my fragrance to reach this garden. It has a problem. You simply blossom. I hardly know what service you are rendering. So figure that out and make yourself relaxed. Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji. I am very concerned about the current political situation. So my question, A, is if you have any thoughts about it, and B, ideally, what should we do as individuals in response to the current political situation? Thank you.
Two types of answer. First is practical. If you are involved in certain political role, then you figure out how should you act. But if your question is more broad, philosophically, first shocking news, the political system today is same as ever. Because it all depends upon which angle you are looking for. There are times when there's perfect harmony in America, but there's absolute disharmony in another place. Is that a solution? That we are safe? Who are we? Only Americans? So develop that understanding. And then no matter what type of rule, what type of politics, every soul has its own circumstances to face, challenges to face. Whom do you blame? To bring God into the politics. Why do you make people go through all this? Aging, dying, born again. Make a revolution. I'm joking, but the idea is that revolution, that going after God is your sadhana. Turn to practice of yoga. Discover your inner strength and allow yourself to be of use to people in a profound way, no matter what situation, no matter how many crooked people are around. Solution has to come from your heart. First thing, thank them. They are reminding you not to be crooked. Second, therefore, He will bring goodness in your heart and nourish yourself with all needed practice of yoga, sadhana, worship, to allow your soul to be nourished and see the joy of goodness emerging from your personality. All this I'm saying quickly, but in life, as you go on doing your good deeds, in spite of all these troubles, go on keeping your mind positive and considering life being given to you from divine hand. It's an opportunity for you to face challenges in difficult times, stay unshaken. All that is allowing yourself to become internally, spiritually strong. If the world had no challenges to give you, you will become a jellyfish. You take the eating jalebis. Arjuna. Jalebis. Figure that out, but I'm not discouraging you. If you have good idea to influence people who are doing wrong, go ahead. Be a hero. But understand, behind it, God's hand must be there. And figure it out that it is what you are proposing. If you find that what you propose is not really good, be flexible. Don't use the same mind that you are opposing.
Om Tat Sat, Swamiji. A second part to that question. Isn't that really more of a shattering of expectation of how we think things should be? You know, and a breaking of illusions when we kind of think of government as something that is loving and protective, and then you see all of this dishonesty that it's really a breaking of illusions and expectations.
It is just like palabra, game of palabras. Yes, all this world, good and bad, is Maya. But that has nothing to do with your practical life. That understanding is at a different level. It doesn't interfere. If you have difficulty while driving your car, and your mind says, oh, this is illusion. That's not the solution. The practical reality is how can you live your life utilizing your resources, your body, mind, senses, and integrating them in such a way that you begin to understand what's the source behind. But in practical movement, you begin with being a good person. Instead of just being a human being, you learn to be being human. And once you move into being human, then you begin to understand what humanity means. You begin to go higher level. But again, while I'm saying, I'm giving stages. Depending upon your quality of level of evolution, all these begin to operate on different levels simultaneously. You don't wait that first must finish this, then I will go into another level. You are always a mixture. Your heart is working, your understanding is developing, your will is working. If all this is aligned in a harmonious way, it's actually kind of a musical scheme of life. How to harmonize action, emotion, will and reason, these are the chords. How to harmonize, be in sur, harmonized way. Then the sur term means godly. Things become harmonious. Again, when I say, my hands go like easily. But harmonious itself doesn't mean that things become all people become suddenly match up to your expectation. They're all 5 feet tall. Figure that out. The level within you which is like the sky. Clouds can come and go, but that sky aspect remains untouched. That's what Godward movement does. And that again comes progressively. You don't become completely settled easily. You go advance, you feel you are settled, then God shakes you up. Then you know that you are not so settled. You practice more until you come to a stage that you can't be shaken. And God says, bravo, you won. Take my Trishul. I'm joking. Yes.
Swamiji invites Ashwin to say a few words relating to health. Physician of integrative medicine, also Swamiji's physician.
Pranam Swamiji, Om Tat Sat. So there is a lot of Alzheimer's disease that is very prevalent in modern day. And as people live longer, increasing research has gone into understanding why the brain loses its capacity. And over time, slowly we begin to experience difficulty focusing on tasks that require sustained attention, difficulty word finding, short-term memory lapses. So to some degree we can all relate to this, but the science has evolved now to develop a very interesting understanding of how to address the gradually diminishing faculties of the brain. It used to be that in traditional medicine, only 1 or 2 pathways were used in order to medically manage something like Alzheimer's disease and the gradual onset of dementia. Now we understand that dementia is almost like a leaky roof with many different areas of minor damage which start to drip, 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 drip. So instead of using one pathway and putting one bucket under one little area where the roof is leaking, we're using a multifactorial approach, an integrative approach. And the integrative approach includes things like pranayama. When you actually perform pranayama on a regular basis, you open up areas of the lung in the deep areas of the lung that are more vascular. They receive a lot of blood supply. And when you use pranayama in this way, every single breath that you take during the rest of the day becomes a more detoxifying and nourishing breath for the brain. And that's very healthy. In addition to that, drinking enough water. Research has shown that even mild amount of dehydration from day to day and from week to week can actually give rise to lapses in productivity, lapses in mental faculties. Third thing is exercise both the body and the brain. So exercise, the American Heart Association recommends a minimum of 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise 5 days a week. Alternatively, you can use 150 minutes per week as a bare minimum, because when you're exercising, you're also detoxifying. by your exhalation as well as using the biggest organ in the body, which is the skin. So exercise also maintains bone density and muscle tone. Muscle tone actually ends up being a big sponge that soaks up blood sugar. And blood sugar, if it spirals out of control over time, related to decreases in muscle tone, then what ends up happening is that it impacts the brain. Blood sugar increases inflammation, and inflammation clouds the faculties of the brain. So using all of these techniques in addition to meditation, so not only exercise of the body, but exercise using fixed gaze concentration exercises, meditation exercises, creative visualization exercises, all of these things as part of a consistent meditation practice can also improve the mental faculties. Lastly, what we are eating and drinking. A lot of antioxidant-rich nutrition helps detoxify the brain. So the more colorful your plate is, the more colorful your food is, think about the salad and the lentils and the vegetables and everything that we enjoyed today, the more colorful your plate is, the richer it is in antioxidants. So think of this and also use things like green tea and turmeric in your food. If you incorporate all of these nutritious plant-based lifestyle, your brain will also be happier and healthier for a long life. More in my next time. For now.
Very nice. Very nice.